staying away from overcrowded stock. With this lesson, I'm going to tell you my opinions on why to stay away from these types of stock. Day one, sure, you're going to see successful day one runners, but believe me or not, and I've been doing this for over 7 years, more times you're going to see a lot of the day one runners fail majority of the time. They do run, don't get me wrong, but most of the time you're going to see them fail. Overcrowded stocks, you may refer to it also as the hot chick of the day or the top runner of the day. And this is where we're going to break it down. So with this example, ALVR, this was gapping up pre-market. You can clearly scroll out on the 1 minute chart here, and you can see the previous days here, there was no volume at all the way leading up to this day, April 20th, 2022. They come out with the press release that attracts all of this volume today. The first place you should be starting is the daily chart. Always the daily chart. Looking back to see, has this stock ran in the past? Do you see any big green candles? Does this stock have a history of running? Is there any big volume days? So the stock has no history of running, no big volume days. And this stock this morning was gapping up to $6, up over $6 to $7. But then when you look above that, you see there's a blue line here. That's the 50-day moving average. That's right at $7.66. So right around $8 a share. And you could see this stock was finding resistance and recent price action at $8, $9. So there's a lot of overhead for this type of stock. Every $1. So $7, $8, $9, and then that psychological $10. There's a lot of overhead. And you know, as a trader, people don't like stocks with a lot of overhead. It's just too complicated. The float on the stock is 32 million. So it's a medium float stock, which means you're going to need a lot more volume to get things up and rolling. It's just the basics of supply and demand. And when we really zoom in on the 1 minute time frame, market opens up with the volume down here. Look at it, how much volume was flowing into this stock per 1 minute. Every 1 minute, on average, this stock was getting 1 million in volume. That's a lot of volume flowing into the stock every 1 minute. At one moment, it was at 8 million in volume on the day. Then it was at 20 million volume on the day, 40 million volume on the day. So far, ALVR currently at 11:30 a.m., 2 hours after the market opened, we're at 67 million in volume on the day. That's a lot of volume for this stock. 67 million in volume. Looking at the characteristics of this stock, look at all of the upper wicks on this stock this morning, all right here. A lot of tug of war, back and forth action as prices rip from 7 up to 730, flushes out down to 670. So right here in this little area, there's a 50-cent range going on this type of stock. Somebody jumping in, not considering their size, buying 1,000 shares or 2,000 shares, and a stock's fluctuating up and down 50 cents at a time. You're watching your P&L, and that could freak you out, triggering emotions and making you screw up the trade. But from 7, we explode up into a halt right here, up just underneath $8. And then right when this stock reopens, look at that candle right there. The long upper wick, the long bottom wick on it. That's just about a 75-cent range on a 1 minute candle here. Prices get drilled down. Look at that candle. It's a different story when you're in on a stock like this real time versus going back and just looking at it. You kind of want to put yourself in a perspective when looking at these candles. Man, if I was in on this stock while it was having this type of price action, what would be going through my head? Would I be freaking out? From 720, grinds back up to 8, gets a pullback, and then in one candle explodes from 750 up to 850. So we're seeing a lot of 50 cent, $1 fluctuation on this type of stock. Then it just right at $8.50 just lingers around up there and then just starts collapsing and falling apart. It went on a good run this morning from 660s up to 850s, overcrowded, all these people jumping in on it. Then when it starts to stall out, everybody bails on it, crashing the stock down. These overcrowded stocks, you're going to find them a lot of times a bit complicated to trade. Anytime you have an overcrowded stock, you always got to consider the different opinions, trading strategies. All of these different people have different set of eyes. They're looking at the stock. They have different trading strategies, different philosophies. So you got people using MACD, Kettler channels, Elliott wave, Fibonacci retracements, RSI. All of these different trading strategies in an overcrowded stock lead to a back and forth tug of war. Indecision, bulls and bears back and forth, scratching at each other. They're battling for price control. That's why a lot of times with these overcrowded stocks, this is why a lot of people lose money on these type of stocks. They get googly eyed over the top hot stock of the day, and then they see at the corner of their eye something that is less crowded effortlessly push up and run without them. Another example, LLAP this morning. While that was going on with ALVR, LLAP just gradually lifts up here from $5, runs all the way up to a high of $8 a share the first half hour, 45 minutes of the day. And look at every single time the stock pushed up, got a nice pullback, push, pullback, push. Look at volume just gradually, little by little, trickle into the stock. And it tops out up here after it ran $3 a share. This was the less crowded stock. And even right now, total on the day, LLAP has only done 17 million in volume on the day. 17 million. That's it. Versus ALVR, that's done 67 million in volume. Just to show you guys, I'll bring up over this chart here and I'll blow this up. I'll type in ALVR. That's the stock. So these are the top two stocks right here. And this little box right here, this is the volume. Look at the volume difference if you can see it between the two. ALVR is at 67 million in volume on the day. LLAP is at 17 million volume on the day. And then you also have stocks like SEV is another stock running today. That's only got 10 million in volume on the day. And when you look at SEV, this one had a really good setup this morning, and it ran yesterday. It ran up from $4.50 all the way up to almost $9. This morning, it opens up right near that $7. You get a nice rounding bottom forming on this right at that $7. That's why I try to teach you guys to focus on these psychological price levels. Rounds out at that $7, and then even going off of yesterday's, it got a nice pullback. It's holding majority of its gains from yesterday. This is just a basic retracement and pullback for a continuation move back up. The overall sentiment is bullish, and people just quite frankly forget about these types of stock. This stock had all of this volume day one. Look at the volume compared day two. It's like everybody left this stock, right? Why? What happened? Everybody gravitated over to the hot new stock, ALVR. That's what happened. And look at where ALVR is at. So when I look at volume, and you guys have seen me use this multiple times here in the Discord, when I look at volume, I think of them as seagulls. You guys have heard me use this term multiple times in my videos. They're like scavengers, seagulls at the beach. You see all these seagulls like rats going from food, anything they can get at the beach, the scrappings, mine. So anytime there's a stock that's gapping up and the number one stock, everybody gets unrealistic expectations. They see how much the stock ran up pre-market, and then they start to visualize. All they see is the reward. All they see is the reward part. That's all they see. How much the stock ran from here up to here. They don't see any of the downside for this stock. All they see is the upward potential. And you can easily get sucked up into focusing on the number one stock of the day. That's why I like to say, have a handful of stocks that you want to watch every single day. And a lot of times you're going to notice easy money opportunities in stocks people just simply forgot about. Stocks like recent runners, ATER. This stock ran for days. And now that it's not performing and making higher highs and higher lows, and it's in the backside, people are going to start forgetting about it. Already today, look at the volume diminish right there compared to all the days this stock kept pushing up to new highs. Remember, everybody has their scanners and screeners set up to pick up high of day breakouts, high weekly breakouts, monthly breakouts, yearly breakouts. People are taught and trained to look for stocks breaking to new highs on the day, the week, multi-day, monthly, weekly, yearly. There's a lot of different ways to make money out here. Here's another example. VERU. This was a number one stock recently, squeezing up from $4.50. This squeezed all the way up to a high of $17.50. Now look at the volume attack it right here. And then as it starts to pull down, look at volume diminish. Then as it gets this next big run up here, look at that spike in volume. And then that spike in volume. And every time that this spiked up in volume, look at it also, it's retracing as well. Now it's practically no volume at all as it's getting drilled down. For me, I would be keeping my eyes on this for any type of reversal, momentum bounces to the upside. People forget about these types of stocks. They do. And a lot of times we see really good reversals and bounces on these types of stocks. Look at INDO, for example. This stock popped up and ran right here. Look at all that volume attack it. Then as it starts to pull back down, go sideways near that $22. Look at that big spike right there. And look at volume chase it. Look at it as it starts to fall back down. Look at how volume diminishes. And then with it perking up right here, you got a little bump in volume right there. Not as high as it was over here and right here, but there's still opportunity. Off of that $22, $23, this stock ran up to almost $27. That's good money for a stock to run up from 23 to 27. That's a $4 move to the upside right there. It's all in the way you look at things. I say that all the time to you guys. We're all going to spot opportunity in different places. That's why it's good and healthy to break down charts. Break them down. Look at what you see. Where do you see opportunity? Because that's where it counts. Another example real quickly. MDVL. This is a really good example. This stock ran from $1.30 right here. Ran all the way up to $2.50, running all the way up to $3.30. All right here running up. And then all this volume explodes into it. Look at how much volume was exploding into this stock when it was really getting extreme and running up to $3.30. That's insane. Insane to be buying a stock that ran up that high. And when you really look back, zoom out on this, and you're like, yeah, this stock just ran from $1.30 to $3.30. This is all the unrealistic expectations people get from these stocks. They think it can keep going and going and going. And then once it stops performing and starts to crumble, look at volume diminish. People leave it. They go off to something else, leaving it open for more opportunity down the road. And when you look at it, this stock, it crumbled down here and then it flatlined right near that $2. Just a basic level, $2. From $2, it ripped right back up to its highs, just like that. And look at all the volume come right back into it right there. Just volume disappears and then comes right back. The smart money, the 10% right there at $2, watching and eyeing this thing, stalking it like a predator. Because like we were just talking about, every single day we see different stocks like ALVR. Every day something new pops up and it's going to steal the attention from all of these other different stocks. And people are slowly going to start to forget about ATER, a previous runner, VERU, another previous runner. They're going to forget about SEV. They're going to forget about all of these previous runners. And the 10%, the smart money, this is where they're focusing their attention, you guys. They're not getting caught up in the hot stock of the day. LLAP, this thing ran up $3 a share effortlessly this morning. Effortlessly on little volume versus that hot stock of the day, ALVR. What? This ran from $7. It ran up to $8.50. So it ran up $1.50 on all of this extreme volume right there. That's it. That ain't worth it. It's all about perspective and the way you see things, as I said.